Welcome back to Twintero. I'm Gary, and this is Not David. So it's 6:04 on Wednesday, December 17th. Trump is out there doing his little primetime speech. I'm assuming that it's going to be about Venezuela and uh, some sort of popular type justification on why he should be either putting boots on the ground or should be allowed to force a regime change in Venezuela. It's going to be something along those lines, I suspect. I'm going to do a reading on Susie Wiles. There were a few readers out there that felt that um, a woman would ultimately take Trump down. And, there seems to be a few candidates for that role. The latest person throwing their hat in the ring appears to be Susie Wiles, his chief of staff. And she did an interview with Vanity Fair. I'm sure you have seen the highlights, the quotes from that. She basically put the crosshairs on everyone and just dropped truth bombs left and right. I'm sure there was fallout. I'm sure there were ketchup bottles flying across the White House dining room as these quotes came out. And of course, now the retractions start happening. And so she was quoted in this article saying that the Vanity Fair had disingenuously framed a hit piece against Susie Wiles and the finest present White House staff and cabinet in history. So this is the other quote. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume, after reading it, that was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. Okay, I'm just going to stop right there. Here are some of the quotes she made. She said that Trump has an alcoholic's personality. She said, high-functioning alcoholics or alcoholics in general, their personalities are exaggerated when they drink. And so I'm a little bit of an expert in big personalities. Trump, while not a drinker himself, has an alcoholic's personality, claiming he operates with the view that there's nothing he can't do. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. She also went on to say that his presidency wasn't supposed to be a retribution tour, but there was she had a loose agreement that score settling would end after the first 90 days are over. I guess Letitia James must have been the exception to the 90 days, right? And possibly James Comey. So she goes, it looks like retribution, and there may be an element of that from time to time, but who would blame him? Not me. Okay, so I'm gonna stop with the quotes there. So basically, she said he's got an alcoholic's personality in as much as he feels he could do whatever the hell he wants. Nothing can stop him from doing what he wants. And that he was out there seeking retribution against people that he perceived were unfair towards him. Those are truth bombs, okay? There's no one that's going to deny either one of these things, okay? And then she's got the nerve to say, well, significant context was left out of what I was stating, and it makes this administration look chaotic. Okay, Susie, guess what? Here's my analogy. If you're going to make a sandwich, okay? But the key ingredient of this sandwich is going to be a dog turd. Okay? If you're going to make a dog turd sandwich and give it to a food critic, the food critic is not going to worry about the quality of the bread, the condiments, and the other items you've put on. The lettuce, the pickles, the tomatoes. They're going to sort of bypass all of that when they open up the sandwich and see a big steaming turd there. You can say that they left context out about all the wonderful things you said about Trump. The fact of the matter is, you've served us a dog turd sandwich, and we don't care about the quality of the bread. we're concerned about the dog turd in the middle of our sandwich here. And that's what the food critic is going to write about. And that's what Vanity Fair did. It's like, you know, we're not North Korea. Well, I guess we are North Korea, because these guys just fall over themselves fawning on Donald and how wonderful he is and what a smart man he is and how no president could ever top him, blah, 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 blah. There's a dog turd in the middle of this sandwich, and that dog turd is Donald J. Trump's actions. Full stop. Truth bomb drops, okay? Now she's trying to backtrack this stuff. You know, it just cracks me up. So we're just going to do some readings on this. No idea what I want to ask, but I'm winging it. Dave's not here to stop me or slow me down. I'm on a bit of a rant. I'm a little bit triggered today. Just some things. I had some setbacks that I have to contend with outside of my work life and tarot reading life. And so I'm already kind of like edgy. And then I see this nonsense comment from Susie Wiles. And we've got our orange felon out there, trying to start a war with Venezuela because he wants the oil fields back. I mean, the guy wants to overthrow the Venezuelan government. He's not even trying to hide his motivations anymore. So anyways, let's take a look at this for entertainment purposes only, although we already know the truth because Susie Wiles told us. How accurate was Susie Wiles? The other thing that I'm going to point out, in all of the backtracking and other comments, at no time has she said that she was misquoted. I think there was one thing she said she was misquoted on, and they said, yeah, no, we've got recordings of everything. We could play it back for you. So it's not that what she was stating was misquoted. She just didn't get the all of the loving comments of Donald Trump, and they ignored it. And I guess she wasn't expecting that. So let's take a look at Susie Wiles and how is she feeling after this interview has come live. So you got the Four of Cups. The truth bombs are out there, and she's not happy that the Vanity Fair basically ignored all the quote-unquote good stuff and focused on the dog turd sandwich. And you know what? Here's a cup of unicorn tears for you to swallow down that story, Susie. The challenge is the King of Swords, because you told the truth. You're not happy because you told a truth that was shared. You weren't expecting them to give equal airplay to the truth. I don't know what she was thinking. I guess that'll have to be the next question. Energy underneath it is the world. And once again, as I started when I opened this, there are folks that feel that there might be a woman. There are other readers that were reading saying it might be a woman that brings down Trump. Susie Wiles has definitely thrown her resume on the table as someone that can bring down the president, because MAGA will listen to her, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They will listen to those people, and they're starting to get messages that they otherwise wouldn't get on Fox News. So not happy with how it was reported, but the problem is everything was truthful. She can't say she was misquoted. They've got recordings. And it's the truth that's causing her problems, because this could bring an end to the cycle. In the past, another end card, the Ten of Swords, trying to put an end to this. Maybe this interview, I've got to see, let me see if I can figure out if there's anyone out there that kind of gives some insight to what that interview, why she did it. Stand by. Okay, I just did a quick search. Not entirely sure. I guess Susie Wiles feels that she can go out there and be truthful, and it will benefit Trump. As far as disclosure. Okay, so what do we got so far? How is she feeling about this? Unhappy with how the interview was published because the truths came out. the world is watching this. Trump world is finally getting to see some of the insider comments, and they're direct. In the past, you got the Ten of Swords. I guess maybe this was trying to put an end to the theory of lack of transparency within the administration, and the fact that a lot of folks feel like Trump really isn't doing anything, that world events drive Trump's agenda versus the other way around. And she kind of failed miserably on that. The current energy is the Lovers, but she's not going anywhere because Trump loves her. Trump thinks that she's the best. He calls her Susie Trump. So she's probably one of the few people that could get away with that kind of candid truth bombing. Overarching energy is, however, this has created a nightmare situation with the Republicans in the White House. For most other people, this would be considered a real act of betrayal against dear leader. How could you say these things about him? How could you say these things about his staff, even if they're true? And this is going to cause problems for them because they can't walk it back. It's all recorded. The lesson to be learned: Nine of Cups, hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. Hey, you wanted to go out there and communicate all these great things Trump did and what a great staff he did. But what really happened was you laid the truths out there, and they focused on those truths because they're truths that it's hard to get someone in Trump's inner circle to admit, and it's the main ingredient in the sandwich you're trying to serve. And you put a big dog turd in there, and you expected us to celebrate this? No. This is exactly what the American people need. The lesson to be learned: don't be so smug about how smart you think you are. The truth came out because you were too smug. You were too confident. You thought you could control the narrative. Outcome is Temperance. They're going to have to do some damage control after this. Certainly, Trump, even though he's not an alcoholic, probably needed a drink on that one. There's going to have to be some damage control on this. In that article I was reading, some of the Republicans are like, "Why Vanity Fair? They haven't been very good to us." It's beyond me, and I guess that's what I'm going to ask on this: is what was the White House thinking? What was Susie Wiles thinking? Why Vanity Fair? Why did she think that she can make these direct comments and that it wouldn't come out negatively, right? I guess maybe they're so used to Fox News just throwing up beach balls and then ignoring and sane washing anything that's really bad about Trump. What was Susie Wiles and the Trump administration thinking about this Vanity Fair article? We have to take Ace of Wands. We need to take a new action. We have to change course. We're not happy with the course that we're on. We're not happy with the narrative. It could be because Trump's approval rating is terrible. So we have to try something different to help his approval rating. We have to look to the future, especially if he wants to run for a quote-unquote third term. We need to look to the future, because if we don't change the narrative, if we don't change the momentum, that's what it is. They're going to lose the House for sure in 2026. So we have to take some sort of action. In the past, so I got the same card in the past on both of these. In the past, that's what the Ten of Swords was. Ten of Swords in the past, our opportunity to continue this Emperor's reign is coming to an end. The Ten of Swords. Right now, the way what happened with these special elections, the way his opinion polls of his performance, they're terrible. We're never gonna make it through the midterms. So we needed to give something, provide some balance to our MAGA's faithful. We had to give them some information, some new information that maybe is exciting, and they're going to makes Trump feel like a more of a normal human being, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they felt it could be more relatable. But this is my MAGA card. This is something they felt that MAGA would embrace. Overarching energy is the Two of Wands. You know, underneath they're looking long term, and I know Trump wants to run for a third term. And there was some billionaire fundraiser that offered him $250 million to run for a third term. It's just crazy. So the overarching energy is the Two of Wands. Okay, we got actions that we want to take. Okay, so we got the Ace of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the Three of Wands. We need to take a new action. Let's weigh what actions we want to take. We have to look to the future so that we can continue taking actions. What's the lesson to be learned? Page of Wands. Your creative messaging, it wasn't creative, it was naive. Just they were naive. They thought that they had some creative messaging, and it was just naivete. The outcome is the Ten of Cups. That's once again an interesting outcome card. So we had the Nine of Cups as the lesson to be learned, and now we got the Ten of Cups as the outcome. What was she thinking? She was thinking that this was going to make MAGA happy. That everyone was going to rally around that. And then the previous reading, the lesson to be learned was the Nine of Cups. You were a little smug. You thought you had it all under control, and you did not. So that's why she was doing it. They felt they needed to take an action because they didn't like what was happening in the polls, and they're going to lose their opportunity for a three-peat. His polling numbers and his actions are basically bringing an end to his rule. He's basically suffering from lame duck syndrome. We have to do something to appease our base, so we need to take some actions with some creative messaging, and everyone will be happy. And that is not what happened. Okay, so I guess I want to know, how did Trump take this? What was going on in Trump's mind when this landed? Maybe he was asleep. Maybe he was rage texting on True Social and no one told him, because they only give him the printouts of the stuff that makes him happy. So let's see, what did he think about this whole thing? Okay, what did Trump think? Okay, foundation is the Six of Pentacles. Okay, what did he think? Basically, it's kind of like Vanity Fair. You gave them I've got two things I'm struggling, so that's why I'm kind of blah, 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 blah. The first thing is we give them a little bit of information and they make a big story out of it over the stuff that doesn't really matter. Okay, or he felt like, well, we were trying to throw them a bone because we thought that this would make that this would be beneficial in the long run. Okay, so I'm not sure where I want to go with that yet, but Or Susie, what am I paying you for? You did big damage here. Let's see, what's the cross? Okay, so the cross is the sun. You've exposed things that we didn't want exposed. So this is kind of like, you gave them some nuggets of information that they could run with, and you exposed things that didn't need to be exposed. Okay, there's our favorite card, our Trump card. The energy underneath it is the Devil card. Are you part of my team or what? I thought you loved me. I thought you were supportive of me. And what J.D. Vance said, which was very interesting, was that in the first administration, the chiefs of staff were very busy trying to manipulate and guide Trump and putting up guardrails to keep him from being the worst of himself. He said Susie Wiles is the opposite. She's the one that takes the guardrails down and basically enables his actions to happen. And that's what she's done. I thought you were chained to me. You're supposed to help me here. In the past, we had the creative messaging. You said this was going to be beneficial. The current energy is okay. We need to close ranks and be strong here. There's nothing she said that would make you think that Trump was strong. So it's either they need to close ranks and be strong, or you've given some ammunition to the enemy and given them strength with it. Overarching energy is the Wheel of Fortune. This could be karma coming back to bite you, baby. You know, you signed up for this. You are enabling him, and karma's saying, okay, you made this happen. It's, you know, you're going to need to show your strength because you're making it happen and you've shown a line on it. Lesson to be learned is the Magician. Trump is going to try and have to work his Trumpian magic to get out of this. This could be he's going to try and have to figure a way out of this, either through illusion or through distraction. This makes me very worried about what's going on in Venezuela. Outcome, you let this High Priestess, you let the secrets out. You know, I think what I've got here is, so how did Trump react? You gave away information that you should have held on to, and you gave it to people that didn't deserve it. You were shining a light on my shortcomings, on what's going on here. You're supposed to be loyal to me and to my cause. This creative messaging, you said that would improve our strength, really is now a crapshoot. And I don't think this is the Wheel of Fortune as much as we don't know how it's going to go. I think this is the Wheel of Fortune. Karma is a bitch, baby. And karma just came and landed on you. The lesson to be learned is he might not have the magic to pull out of this thing because the secrets were let out. Stuff that should have been kept secret have now been exposed. And that's what I got. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. Check your subscription status if you want to be subscribed to this channel. Sometimes YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, clears out subscribers, and more often than not, when I throw this out there, I always seem to get a couple of comments from people that said, hey, you know what? I was magically unsubscribed. So feel free to check your subscription status. And if you want to be subscribed, it doesn't cost anything. And it's a great ego boost for me, Dave, and not David. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me give a shout out or two. All right. Who do we got here? Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Rudy2360, also known as Ruth, made a very kind contribution to the channel. Thank you so much. And, you know, let me shuffle these because otherwise you're just going to get the same cards I drew on Trump. And that's no fun. Okay, so Ruth, you got the Knight of Wands. Thank you for taking that action and making my day a little bit better. Like I said, I kind of had a not so fun day. It happens. Let's see what else we got here. Boop. Hey, Perky Feet. Hi, Gary and David. It's my birthday today, and couldn't have asked for a better gift than this positive reading. Oh, thank you. So happy birthday, Perky Feet. And we've got the Seven of Cups, and we can't believe how youthful you look on your birthday. And then Than HW, or Tan HW, she was talking to me about her kitty cats. I got to go to the next one. My kitties are both beyond the veil now. Aw. But Marcel, the orange tabby, and Kitty Boo Boo, the black feral rescue, are always on my mind. Tan, I totally get that. Laura and I, at one point we had 6 cats in a Great Pyrenees, and Dallas was our Great Pyrenees, and we had to put him down about 5.5 years ago. I miss that dog every single day. He was such a neat dog. So Tan, for you, Queen of Cups, thank you so much for always being there for us. Keep those emotions under control. I know you, like many of the folks on this channel, are really disappointed with what we have to endure on a daily basis. And then we'll wrap it up with I research for you. Woohoo! She said, thank you and David for your readings. San Luis Obispo is her county. For those of you out there, the beer I drink, 805, is the area code for in San Luis Obispo, one of the area codes, and so she totally recognizes the beer, and she wanted a shout out for her kitties, Danny May, her 15-year-old kitty, and they watch every night at midnight. Part of the Insomnia Club, Queen of Swords, truth baby. The Insomnia Club is a lot of fun. I actually, when I reply to the comments, I start with newest and I work my way back. And it's always interesting. I know when I'm getting near the end because there are certain people, either because they're in Europe or they're in Australia, who kind of get to the comments first. And then there's the Insomnia Club. And once I start seeing certain names, I know I'm in the Insomnia Club. And I know I'm getting near the ends of the comments, so I'm almost done with my homework, as it were. Anyways, a card for the rest of us. Let's take this one here. Oh, here we go. Judgment card. Our opportunity to vote is coming. It seems like it's so far away, but we're over halfway through this administration's first year, right? Well, that's not entirely true because they came into power in January, but we've been dealing with this baloney since November of last year. In 11 months, we will have had an election. Next time this year, we should have a lot of light. We should be out of that tunnel and getting ready to embrace all of that light. It's horrific that we've had to deal with this. But let's stick together. We'll get there. And then we'll let them know exactly how we feel next November when it's time to vote. Anyways, folks, take care. Have a great night.